I know I probably should figure a way to do this all before everyone gets on here, but all right, I think I got it. We all good? Everyone can hear me? Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Annabelle Pacheco, and I'm a real estate broker. I'm an investor, and I've been in business for 24, 25 years now. My goal really of putting this call together each week is to share with you guys in detail the 8 steps that I took to purchase my first multifamily deal, in hopes that you guys will also be able to do the same. I want everyone to know on this call that I'm not selling anything. I'm not offering anything. I am not a financial advisor. I am just sharing my story with you guys in hopes that we can use this platform to share information and that we can learn from each other. Okay. So just a little information about me. I started in the mortgage industry back in the mid-90s. I have purchased over 100 properties throughout my career. Did a lot of rehab, flips. I purchased, kept properties that we managed as well. Not a number like multifamily, not a whole bunch of doors, but it was sporadic, maybe three units or 4 units and maybe 2 at the same time. So it was never more than, 5, 6 doors. In 2001, we deviated a bit. We built a 150 capacity restaurant from ground up. I had a staff of about 15 people, including managers, chefs, and servers. We had the restaurant for about 8 years, built it up, and sold it once we had good revenue. And thank goodness I was able to get out of that business, because that was definitely a very, very stressful business. And I think it's great for people that enjoy maybe cooking and that's their passion. And it was not mine. We did it as a business venture, and we had, to just figure a way out of this and recoup our money. So the last 10 years, I have focused 100% back in real estate, representing clients in both residential and commercial real estate. I am currently with eXp Realty, which is a nationwide real estate company, and international as well. So I can represent clients all over the US and internationally as well. Give me one quick second. There we go. Letting a couple people in. And so in 2015, I purchased my first multifamily deal, and it was 34 doors in Texas, Grand Prairie, Texas. We were looking for a way to create cash flow and generational wealth. And I'm sure many of you, this is something that runs through your mind, and you're thinking, well, what can we do? How do we do it, right? And so here are the reasons why I invested in multifamily property, and I hope it inspires you guys to also do the same thing. So number one, we were looking for cash flow. We were in a position, my husband and I were in a position where are we going? How are we going to create cash flow? We had sold some property, made some good capital, and decided that multifamily was the route we were going to take. And for those of you who may not know exactly how cash flow is, it's very simple. It's your rental income minus all of your expenses. That's what your cash flow is. That's what you're going to make on a monthly basis. That's what these doors will produce for you. Number two, the beauty of investing in multifamily, it allowed tenants to pay down our loan. Every month we're collecting, our cash flow, we're collecting rent, and all that money that we collected, we paid to we're paying down our loan. Number three, we were looking for an opportunity for this property to appreciate. And I will share with you guys on this call that when I decided to purchase in Texas 6 years ago, I really wasn't banking on appreciation. The market was very different. Property values were not increasing in Texas the way that they appreciate here in California. So for me, it was a very conscious decision that we were looking at, okay, cash flow. And if down the road it appreciates, great. But what we really cared about was the cash flow. And I'll explain in my next slide. I mean, we were really able to create cash flow on this property. And number 4, the tax benefits. The beauty of owning multifamily and just, I mean, it's very simple. Depreciation, it allows you to expense a portion of that physical structure each year. And then you're allowed to do a 1031 exchange, and pretty much it defers the capital gain taxes, and there's no limit. You can do this as many times as you choose. And pretty much, I mean, I'm sure that if it's a good property, you may not want to do something just yet, but at least you know you have the availability to roll over that capital gain. So here's a little bit about the property that I purchased and how it's and kind of where we're at today. So it was a value add multifamily. Now, you guys on this call today, do you know what value add multifamily or value add means? Anybody? Yes. So value add is a property that
a lot of them away, they were going down.
Are we there? Someone going to say something? Okay. So a value add property is a property where you know that you will make improvements to this property and it'll increase the value of the property. So when I purchased this property, these were 34 doors that were not being taken care of. The landlord was just collecting rent and letting anybody in. And it just wasn't a nice property. And when I mean nice, I don't mean just by the actual, like the physical look of it. It didn't have the quality of, it didn't have quality tenants in there. It was roach infested. I mean, it was in bad condition. But my experience in rehabbing, flipping homes, it really didn't scare me. I knew that we were going to have, now it was going to be kind of, 34 doors all together, and we were just going to work them in groups. So we started with about 5-6 properties as soon as we gave them notices, and when we purchased, there were no contracts. So we gave people notices, and as they vacated, we'd go in with a crew and start fixing. So I want to go back to how we purchased this property. This property I found on LoopNet. I was out in Texas, and it popped up, and I had been studying the market for some time. I had done a couple trips out to Texas and just driving and becoming familiar with the different neighborhoods where these multifamily properties were at, so that when this property popped up, I was ready. I knew, okay, this is a decent area. I'm going to go take a look at it. We took a look at it. When I spoke to the agent happened to be the owner of the property, and I was a buyer who also happened to be an agent. So I didn't need it. There was no need for an agent, and I was able to negotiate directly with the seller. And nowhere did it say that the sellers would carry. So I always say, if you guys are out looking for property, you've nothing to lose. If you happen to be, you talk to an owner who's an agent, you know what? Offer them the opportunity to carry if they're interested. So we purchased this property for $850,000. We gave the owner $350,000 down payment. and the seller carried a note for us for the remaining balance of $500,000. Now, this allowed us to remodel and update the units and increase the rents. And after that second year, when we refinanced, the property appraised at $1.6 million. Give me 1 second. I'm letting a couple people in here. So we were able to refinance at $1.6 million. We got a loan for $1 million. So we got all our money back, the money we had invested in the property. We got it all back. And today, the value of that property is $2.8 million. And I've been told by a couple other agents that they could probably get $3 million. So we really did. I mean, our property has quadrupled in value, and you know, and in really what, 6 years, because we bought this in 2015. So any questions so far up until this point? Because I know this is a lot of information. Anyone on this call currently own any multifamily? All right, I need some participation. I need you guys to, help me out here. So where are we as far as the multifamily? Anyone looking to purchase multifamily, let's say within the next 6 months? Okay.
I am, but I was going to be quiet and let others talk.
I got it. Thanks, William. All right. So anyone else looking to purchase multifamily?
Yes, I am. Eventually, I'm just trying to get more information about the process and how it works.
Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know, because this at least gives me an idea, which direction to go in this conversation. Fantastic. Well, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So here's a picture of the property. So I have there's 2 buildings. This building has 24 doors. They're all 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And then we have this building here that has 10 units. They're 2-story townhome style, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. And the property is in Grand Prairies. So today we're going to talk a little bit about managing your multifamily property. And here's a couple of different just different things that we want to pay attention to, okay? And that I think will make a really big difference. So number 1, you might want to start small, right? Some people don't want to jump into, I don't know, you might think 20 doors is too much, maybe you start off with a small, something small. You want to get familiar with the professional property management systems that are out there. And even if you're going to manage 1 or 2 doors, you might want to use these systems so that way you become familiar with it. You also want to add a few perks, right? And you want to look out to see, well, what are other management companies doing? What can I do to be a little different for your own community? You want to set community ground rules from the beginning, and you want to select the right tenants. This is crucial. And then you want to maintain the rental property regularly. So I'm going to break down, starting small. So, and really, you could begin working if you guys know, I don't know how many of you, if any of you are real estate agents, have a license, or have invested in the past, but maybe you have clients that own a single multi-home, or maybe they have 2 different properties. I mean, anything that you can get your hands on to manage. This will start giving you guys a little bit of exposure of how to deal with that. And it'll just give you guys an opportunity to make mistakes in a more controlled environment, because it's manageable, right? You're dealing with 1 or 2 or maybe 3 different families. Then you want to become familiar with professional property management systems. And multifamily property management is a job that really involves a numerous amount of responsibilities. Okay, you have to find tenants. You've got to make sure that you're complying with state and just federal laws. You're handling maintenance issues, and there can be a lot, and especially if you have more than 10, 20, 30 units. I'm not saying that it's super easy. There's always something's always happening, and your maintenance, you've got to have your maintenance people there, and you have to be on it at all times. You want to make sure that you use technology to make your work less stressful. Okay, multifamily property management softwares will actually help you, and it makes things so much easier because it can take care of a lot of stuff. It'll include stuff like maintenance in there, rent collections, tenant acquisitions, and property advertisements. I mean, everything is all on one software. And you can really manage this property remotely. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I'm here in California. Our property is in Texas. We manage it 100% remotely. We visit the property. We're out there maybe 2 to 3 times a year. And you know what, we'll do our own inspections. We've got cameras that we have access to and that we can take a look at. So, I mean, you're just constantly, you're constantly aware, and you're making sure that all these systems are being used properly. You want to add a few perks. Multifamily is getting extremely competitive. There's a lot of investors that are purchasing these properties, and I know I've been looking to purchase additional doors, and it's competitive. And I think, at least what I see, is that your community, you need to add perks to these communities, because even when like tenants are looking to rent, right? They're going to compare what other apartments in the area are offering. And if you're not competitive, or if you're not outstanding or doing a little bit more, you might lose those tenants to another community. Now, as part of our due diligence as managing our property, we have rules, and we make sure that those tenants that come on board to our community understand what those ground rules are. Now, I will say we're in a very, very good position because our property is 100% occupied. So we have a waiting list, and tenants, as soon as one tenant gives us notice, we already have a list of people that we can reach out to, or other tenants in there have friends that want to rent. So it can just easily be done. Now, I will tell you though, we've got rules that we follow, and you have to be careful, because in multifamily, because you do have a lot of people, right? There could be problems. So some tenants might have a tendency to throw, noisy or more. I mean, I'm not going to say parties, because the units are too small to have a party, but maybe, they like to listen to music a little bit louder, and it's going to disturb other tenants. Others might have pets that could be harmful to maybe kids or other tenants. We made a rule right from the get-go. We said, you know what, we don't want pets. We just didn't want that stress. We don't live out there, and I just wanted to eliminate one less thing that I needed to worry about. And so we made a rule: no pets. There are service pets are allowed. That's something that you have to by law, but like just regular pets, not happening. at least not at my place. I don't want to deal with that stress. And I'm going to give you guys some rules, like just important rules that you want to put in writing so that the tenant, when they're moving in, they know that they need to adhere to them and that you've made them aware of them. So we make the rules part of the agreement. So there's, in addition to their rental agreement, we include a list of our rules. And there's, I mean, obviously there's, it's all based on the type of property that you have, but it's a lot of stuff. And I think that it's important because, you know what, you want them to know from the beginning what you're going to be okay with, what you're not going to be okay with. And you don't want them to later on do whatever they want, and then you come to them, right? And they say, well, no one ever told me. So they all know they sign it from the beginning. You also want to make sure, because there's just, these units are also close to each other, that there can be problems amongst the neighbors, is that all of this is resolved in a fast and an amicable way. We don't want it to get to, we don't want it to get aggressive or where we need to call the police. I mean, in some cases we've had to, but we always try to resolve things amicably and peacefully. We make an effort to also try to negotiate. We give them warnings if certain things they're not doing, that they knew were part of the rules, and they're broken. We don't just give them like penalties and fees. No, we give them warnings before it gets to an actual, okay, now you're being penalized, we're going to charge you for it. Again, we're not in business to penalize and to make money that way. We just want to make sure that we're running this property as efficient as possible, and for it to be done, I mean, like, just peaceful area for our tenants to be happy. Does that make sense? Because I know it's a lot of stuff, a lot of information. Any questions so far? Okay. And I think this is critical, selecting the right tenants. Your success as a property owner and a manager will honestly be determined by the ability of you being able to have great tenants in there, like the right tenants. And how do you do this, right? You've got to be picky, and there's certain questions that you're going to ask these tenants. And if you don't screen properly, you really can end up with bad tenants, and it's going to be a nightmare. And that's exactly what we walked into. When we purchased this property, we walked into a property that was where the previous owner was not screening the tenants. He was just letting anybody in. So here are some of the questions that you want to ask tenants. Okay, you want to know why are they moving? And usually, if they're truthful, they'll say, you know what, I'm changing jobs, or we need more space. We hear this all the time. I want to be closer to my job, right? Or we need a bigger space. What's your monthly income? You want to find out, you want to get an idea if this tenant's going to be able to pay the rent comfortably. Have you been evicted previously? And if the answer is yes, two things. You can either investigate to, you want to find out why was he evicted, or you just simply, you don't accept it. I mean, you're making the rules. You can decide where you want to go. And will they allow a credit or a background check? And anyone that opposes to that, usually, you know what, they end up not being a good candidate. Most of the time when we tell them that we're going to do a background check, or that we'd like to do a background check, it's an open or an opportunity for them to say, well, let me explain, I had this or this happened. And then you can ask a little bit more and dig a little bit more. And then we still run the background check and you double check and confirm with them. Give me a second. I see someone here. Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm going to stop there for a quick second and answer a question. Dr. Scott, you asked, what do you mean by seller carry the note? So what that means is that instead of me going out and getting a loan, the seller was able to lend me or be my bank for that purchase.
Okay, I get what you're like seller financing
Like
essentially.
seller financing.
Got
So
you.
we worked out a deal. We worked out a deal with him, and he didn't owe a lot of money on the property. So it only worked when the current owner's loan balance is either zero or low enough to where, you know, your down payment can maybe pay the difference. Like maybe, I don't know what his loan was. Maybe, you know, maybe he owed a little and we gave him $350,000 and he was able to pay that and then finance the additional 500. I can tell you he was making a lot more money being our lender than he was collecting rent.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so it made sense. But I'm sure now he's kicking himself in the butt because he sees, you know, the how the value of properties have gone up. And also we came in and really like, it was like we started remodeling rooms and I'll have another talk on the repairs and how we went about doing the repairs and the type of repairs that we did to increase the value. Any other questions? Okay. So, let's see here. So you're going to ask, you know, background checks is, I guess, where we left off here. So, you know, it's important if someone, I mean, it's obviously it's your discretion if you're going to let someone in there that has something not so good on their on their check, you know, again, it's your call. We personally, we don't go there. Again, I don't live out there. I'm not there all the time. So I have to minimize my risk. And we're pretty strict when it comes to that. If there's anything bad that comes up, I'm not even going to go there. That's me personally. How did I find the deal? You know, I found the deal on LoopNet. I happened to be out in Texas searching, and when it popped up, we went to go see it, and I knew that it was a decent area because I had spent about a year really learning the market out in Texas. So I'd go out there in just different times of the year and spend 2-3 weeks, and I was just, you know, driving around and touring properties and looking at them, becoming familiar with the neighborhoods, and you know, just you want to look at the demographics, you want to look at the businesses, you want to look at schools. I mean, you want to look at everything. And when this property popped up from, you know, just all the research and the study I had done, I knew it was in a good area, and we just kind of jumped on it. And I called the agent, and the agent happened to be the owner. So we were able to negotiate and make it happen, and it worked. We kind of, you know, he was able to get out of the deal, and I got a great deal. Does that answer your question, Sherry?
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So the other thing, very, very important, is maintaining the property regularly. And honestly, I have to tell you that I think that this is one of the things that we did, and we thought, you know, it's important that your tenants know that you are there to take care of them. I mean, they're paying you rent every month. They want to make sure that at least they want to know that they're being taken care of. And we make sure that our tenants are satisfied, that they're comfortable, and that their living condition are habitable. We pride ourselves on that. And I think that that's why we're in a position today where we have, I mean, we're at 100% occupancy and we have a waiting list. Someone gives us notice that they are going to be vacating. We already have a list that we can reach out to get into the property. So I think that if you do a good job, tenants don't want to leave, but at some point tenants do leave for whatever reasons, right? Maybe they need to move somewhere closer to where their work is at, or maybe they need a bigger place. All I can tell you is that maintaining your property and just regular maintenance of it is critical in making sure that you retain your tenants. And again, I'm in California, right? And we're managing this property in Texas. So we try to, again, minimize any kind of problems. We really like to we'll go into the root of the problem. We're not doing any kind of just Mickey Mouse repairs or work. We don't want to deal with it. So let's just take care of it right from the beginning. And you want to make sure that any kind of structural damages in the building that are visible are taken care of. Very important, pest control. You'd be surprised, pest control is not cheap, and there's a lot of landlords that don't do it, and that's why there are roaches. And I mean, it's when I tell you guys that it can get bad, it is bad. When we took over this property, I don't think he ever had it, pest control company come by. I remember walking into one unit and it was the scariest thing. I'd never seen that in my life. And it was just roaches all over the wall. And the tenant was sitting on the couch like nothing while all these roaches are like all over the place. I couldn't even, I put one foot in the door and I was about to like just die because I don't like roaches. And we knew immediately, all right, we need to take care of this. And what we did is we moved him into another unit so that we can actually clean it up and bring it up to just like habitable and clean, and then move him back into that unit. So we really went in there and made some serious changes. And tenants, and I don't even think, we might have a handful of original tenants that are still living there at the property. As you start fixing and your requirements for better quality tenants change, the other tenants just know that, okay, this is the place for me, and they just leave on their own, which was okay for us. Why didn't we hire a management company? 34 units for us was not enough to hire a management company. So we formed our own management company. We have a manager that lives on site, and I have a handyman that lives on site. So they both get a concession, they get a discount on the rent, and we give them a payment as well. And it made total financial sense, and it was the best way for us to manage the property. You're welcome. So again, this worked for us because we had prior experience in managing or in flipping, selling. I mean, I've been involved in real estate for 20 some years. So we weren't afraid. We had done this already. Now it was just 34 doors. And I think that we were, the way we handled it has worked out fantastic. I can't complain. It may not work for everybody. I think it's really going to depend on your experience. And my prior experience helped. My husband's a general contractor. So I think we have the best of both worlds kind of all, together. When something breaks or something happens and he has them send over an estimate, he knows approximately what the cost of things are. So it's not like they can take advantage of us. Now, if you're not familiar with that part of, the construction or the cost of repairs, that's where you could also be taken advantage of. So I think that, we've been able to handle this on our own from California because we're very familiar with the process, and we have two people that are really our eyes and ears out there and can handle and take care of stuff. Any other questions? So let's see here. When you maintain as part of your maintenance to the property, there are inspections that you do conduct, okay? And one of them is your move-in inspection. So this is to make sure that when your tenant moves into the property, that he's aware of the condition that he's going to actually be, like, he knows exactly what kind of condition he's walking into. And that's the same condition we expect him to return the property to us. So we go through a move-in inspection, we check things off with them. Once it's all checked off, they sign it acknowledging that, yes, you guys are giving me, the property in good condition. Or if for whatever reason, and I'll give you guys an example because these things do happen. The blinds may not be, maybe that one part of the blind is broken, but it's not enough for us to replace the whole thing. So we'll make a note on that move-in inspection sheet that, bedroom blind, right corner is chipped or cracked or whatever it is. So that when they move out, we don't ding them or we don't blame them for it. The move-out inspection, this again makes sure that that tenant is leaving the property in the same condition that he came in. And that, again, we do collect a security deposit. So that security deposit, if there's stuff that they break or, that they ruin, we will deduct it from their security deposit. We do a drive-by inspection. So this is just a quick way for us to kind of evaluate the exterior of the property. And we do fly into Texas unannounced. We don't let our manager or handyman know that we're coming in, and we just kind of land and we get there and we're like, okay, we look at stuff. And if, we see that maybe, the cleaning is not up to par like what it needs to, then, we address it. And again, you guys have to remember that no one's ever going to do a perfect job, than you, right? If you're there, you're gonna give it your heart, you're gonna give it your all. I think that we've got to find people that are willing to do that, but it may not be to the same expectation that if it were you, right? If it were you doing it. So they do a good job. Could it be better? Yeah, probably could. But you know what? We're happy. Our property is doing fine. And we just try to, go in there. And when we're there, we're like, okay, come on, let's do this. Let's, I try to tell them, like, just point out, like, don't let this happen, right? Or don't let it get dirty, or don't, make sure you pick it up. And so we've been on them about stuff, and you know what, they do the best they can, and I can't complain. I mean, we're very happy. We're far away, and it definitely works for us. And then a seasonal inspection. Your seasonal inspection really includes making sure that your trees are cut and pruned, and making sure gutters are cleaned, and possibly even windows, exterior windows. I mean, just any of those big things that you want to do once a year, and you want to make sure that you address. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because that's all I have. And now I'm just going to open it to everyone here, and let's talk a little bit about, where are you in the process? What are you guys looking to do? What's the ideal? What would be the ideal? Or do you even know what the ideal situation would be? Or maybe location areas. anyone, it's open. We've got a couple minutes, so if anyone wants to share.
Yeah, I mean, I can share. This is Sherry, and I'm an agent with EXP. I recently got my license, joined EXP. We are an investors, real estate investors. We do, I mean, buy rentals, and also we did a few renovation last year. And we're looking to buy, I mean, we have rentals, single family rentals, but we are looking to buy a multi-family rentals. I mean, we are in Los Angeles, and
Okay.
we would like to buy close by for our first multi-unit to be able to, I mean, manage it or be closer to it. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking into right now, and we are thinking to start like maybe a fourplex, threeplex, or fourplex, and then later like going higher in units.
Right.
Yes.
And have you looked at anything here in LA that makes financial sense?
Uh we don't, I mean, I have been looking, but really like it's kind of, I'm not there yet to go and make offers on those
Right.
properties. So
And
I'm
price
still
wise,
learning.
so what are you looking at, let's say 4 units? What price range?
So about up to 1.2, 1.3 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an see, we are, I mean, so I'm not sure what is the best combination, having some units like already tenant in. So we have some cash flow while we are fixing the other units, or so just it's the beginning of my looking into this. So I'm learning and doing, yeah,
Perfect. Well,
searching.
keep in mind, I, and I hate to say this, but I won't buy multi-units here in California.
I see.
For me personally, it's definitely not a landlord-friendly state. Texas is a landlord-friendly state, and if I do the numbers, for me, I mean, I don't have millions and millions of dollars. It just doesn't make financial sense. How much, so I guess figuring out if you're paying $1.2 million, right?
Yes.
For 4 units, the cost per door is, let's see, $1.2 million, divide that by 4, you're paying $300 per door. I mean,
Yes.
you can get anywhere from, let's say, on the low end, maybe $90 a door
Wow.
out of California. $90 to $100 a door out of California. So, I don't know. I mean, I have done these numbers and I just can't find, even 4 or 5 units that make sense financially, right? If you're looking for some cash flow, once we get into like breaking it out and looking to see if this property will cash flow. I mean, will
Yeah.
it cash flow? And that's important, because I was looking for a property that cash flow. That was my main goal. And here it would not have cash flow. Maybe I would have broken even, and the appreciation would have, I would have been able to sell and maybe now upgrade. But I lucked out because in Texas, if you guys have been following the market, it's 100% appreciated. I didn't even imagine that my
Yes.
property would appreciate, and it's really, I mean, it's appreciated, I think, like here in California,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I think it's just very important when you're looking and you're shopping around that the numbers make sense. That
Yes.
you will at least, if you're buying here in LA, that you have some sort of cash flow, or at least, right, a minimal breaking even until maybe you have an opportunity to remodel the place and increase the rent. But then again, then you have tenants here with all the tenant the moratorium and all the stuff here in California, that you may not be able to get rid of the tenant.
Yes, that's another part of it. Like we've been hesitating in looking
Right,
more. Yes. But we
exactly.
don't, yeah, but another thing, if you really, I mean, don't have the chance to go out of state and look for properties, you mentioned you were in Texas for several weeks. I mean, sometimes to look for different properties, and you were familiar with the neighborhood. If we don't have that option, that time to do that, so what are your recommendations?
Well, the other thing, something that I have learned throughout my years in multifamily is that multifamily is a team sport.
Yes.
You can find people, right, that you connect. You obviously have to, you've got to get to know them, and you have to have conversations. But there are a lot of people are syndicating deals. They're coming together and they're purchasing great properties out there. And I think that as long as you know who these who these general partners are, and
Yes.
you study their, you want to see like what they've done, you want to
Yes.
talk to the passive investors, and you want to get more information about them. It's a great way. It really is a great way to also get into the multifamily world. You learn, you connect with other investors, and then you might form your own little group from there. So I am going to have on our call in the next couple of weeks. Next week, I have a lady who has invested in, she owns hundreds, if not, yeah, I mean, thousands of doors. And she's going to join us next week. She's going to be talking about, what her experience has been and what she's done. And I think I welcome all of you to come back next week and just listen to her story, listen to what she's done and where she's at. I know that she's part of, I want to say they just purchased like 530 doors in Houston. And you know what? She's going to come on next week. So I welcome all of you to join me next week, and just listen to how these people do this. And then in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have another lady who syndicates, and she also owns hundreds of doors in Dallas, and that's the only area that she wants to invest in. And you'll get different perspectives.
Hello.
Some people will invest in different states. Some people will only invest in their own state. So I think it's important for us to get exposed to this and just to listen to what other people are doing out there.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering about the next week. Can you send us a link for the next week meeting and the time so we can schedule? And another thing I was wondering is that session is recorded, and can we get the recording later on? Thank you.
Yes, it is recorded, and I will put on the, let me do that right now so that I get everybody. Okay, so I'm going to put right here. That's the link. Oh, there you go. There's the link. Perfect. Thanks, Jess. There's the link, Ahmed. And yes, you'll get a recording after today's call. So you can kind of
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
plug in. Absolutely. Any other questions?
No, but I want to make a comment. I think the question was from Sherry from EXP in terms of connection, just to Houston alone. I just left it yesterday and I was there for a week, and just seeing the new buildings in many areas and appreciation is incredible. My son had purchased a single family home there last August at 373 with some give back, so it reduces costs. But now the properties, and within a year is now to what, 430. Depreciation is just incredible in some areas. I was just on the phone earlier with Houston and some realtors about a property in an area that's like 299. but the area is like 400 or 500. And they just said things are going quickly and fast. So it's good to look elsewhere and have those connections to shop around. So I
Yeah.
just want to confirm that.
No, I, you know what? And thank you for saying that. But yes, it's really important to make connections with just different people. There's a lot of meetup groups and just my partner Bill Gross does a investment talk on Tuesdays and Thursdays and probates as well. Jess, are you able to put that link on the chat?
Yes, I can. Give me just a minute and I'll put the link to Bill's calls as well.
Perfect. That would be great. I mean, I invite all of you to plug into Bill Gross's call as well. I mean, awesome. You just, this is how you connect. This is how we all learn. I mean, listen, I've only bought 34 units one time. It's not enough. I mean, I think the biggest lesson is actually going through this process. I mean, you really learn a lot. I can attend all of these events and listen, but you know what? There's nothing like actually doing it yourself. And that's the best lesson. So on the chat, there is Tuesday real estate investing. It's a Zoom call. You guys should definitely join that call. I mean, it's great information, and I'm on every Wednesday at 2 p.m. And I will be in, I don't know, is anyone on this call from Florida? No, no Florida? Okay. All right, no worries. Well, I'll be in Florida for Grant Cardone 10X workshop. And if anyone was from Florida, I was gonna say, well, let's try and hook up or meet up. But anyway, guys, I thank you very much for joining my call this week. I will see you guys next week, and please invite others to this call. And I'm here to help in any possible way I can. So reach out to me. You can send me an email, connect to me via the link. All right. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
Yeah,
righty.
thank you, Annabelle. Bye.
Thank
Thank you so
Take care.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.